So, in case you haven't noticed, 2023 is a year that is coming to a close, and 2024 is a year that is about to start. As a person who personally really enjoys planning for the future and looking at the past to know how I can change, what I can grow in, what I can do better, these year marks, so normally I do a lot over the summer between school years because I've been in college, but also these end of the fiscal years marks are really good opportunities for me to look at the past year, look at what I've done, what goals I made, did I accomplish the goals, how have I grown in those goals, have my goals changed, and then from that information understanding what are good goals for me to make in the future. So specifically for me, 2023 has been a year that I think I have grown a ton in, grown potentially the most in. I have found 2023 to be one of my most enjoyable years, and I feel like I've accomplished a lot of my goals. It didn't go exactly the way I expected, but it's been so much fun to get to see how I grow in it and how my life has changed because of certain circumstances. So for example, I think one of the things that has just really been impacting me the most in this past week as I've been looking at 2023 as a whole and creating recap reels and looking at the future at 2024, one of the things that's impacted me the most is one of my first ever videos that I filmed of myself in 2023 was about January 14th. I was taking a CLEP test for science in college that would determine whether I could graduate on time for what I wanted. I wanted to graduate in December, which was going to be a semester earlier than the normal 4-year track, but I'm an education major, and so normally it would take 5 years as well. So through a series of events over the past few years, taking a ton of credits, taking summer classes, and this CLEP test that I was really trying to take, it would impact when I could graduate. Could I graduate early? Would I graduate on time? Would I graduate late? So it was a science CLEP. I don't hate science, but I don't know all of the science I need to know for college. I had taken this test once in 2022, and I didn't pass. And I maybe went into the test with too much confidence, but I had spent all of my Christmas break of 2022 to 2023, so about 3 weeks there around Christmas of 22, studying for this CLEP test. I was like, I've already taken it once and I failed, and I need to pass this because if I can pass this, then I can graduate in December. This holds so much holds on this test. If I don't, then I have to take it as a class, but I can't take it now because it's too late because the semester has already started. And if I take it somewhere else, I have to make sure that the credits transfer, and they might have a different schedule than the college I'm going to right now. All of that jazz. Really stressing me out. But that video that I took on the 14th, I was like literally in tears. I was shaking. I was so nervous. I passed my biology CLEP that I was confident I wasn't going to. I got a score 50 out of needing a score 50, so I barely passed, but I passed that test. And here I am, sitting in front of you at the end of 2023, having earned my bachelor's degree. I started 2023 with a test that was going to determine whether or not I could graduate early, and I'm finishing 2023 with what I had hoped, graduating college a semester early. Now, as an education major, that meant that my last semester was student teaching, that real life experience to prove whether I can actually hold the degree that I want to. And so I was teaching in different schools. Again, I had goals, I had plans. If it was all up to me, I wanted to do all of my student teaching overseas in Papua New Guinea. That didn't happen, and I think I knew that by the start of 2023. However, I had specific dates in mind for what I did want to do overseas then, because I was able to do a month overseas, not the whole 16 weeks, but 4 of the 16 weeks I was able to do overseas. So I wanted to do it from the middle of November to the middle of December. So like starting, I was going to finish November 7th, and then I was going to drive to my home, and then I was going to fly out from that home instead of out from college, and I was going to be there on like the 15th of November. That didn't happen. I arrived on the 21st of November. You know, like a 6-day change, not a huge deal, but it still impacted my timeline and my plan but it was still something that God was able to use, and I'm so thankful I got the opportunity of experiencing, and it's really changed what I thought 2024 was going to look like for me, and it's helped encourage me on that path and really makes me want to push towards getting to teach overseas long term for like the rest of my life if I could. So in that conversation I had while I was there, they helped direct my path for what I was planning to do for 2024. They said, we'd rather have you do more experience than just go and get more schooling, more training. So all of this being said, I want to look at goals I have for myself for 2024, and I want to see if these goals can help you on your track, even if it's not the same as for me, even if your life looks totally different than where I am headed with my life right now. My goals that I make are often very general. They're goals that other people can use. They're not always very specific to my life. And I do that on purpose because I want other people to be able to use the goals I create. So when I'm making goals and looking at the year to come, the first thing I always decide on is a word of the year. When I don't know what to think about, when I'm struggling in some situation, what is the first word I will go to? What is the first word I will think of that is my goal? What am I striving towards? Some people have a word of the year that is not necessarily a goal. It's like something that they need to remember, or a truth that is already true. That's great. I like my words of the year to be a goal. So this is the first year where I had a goal in mind, and then I changed it. And again, it's not even 2024 yet, so it's okay for me to change it. But I had a goal, and I changed it a few days later when I realized this is a better goal. So my original goal for 2024, and because it was my original word of the year, it's still going to have a big impact, and I'm still going to remember it. It's just not my word of the year. My original word of the year was going to be selflessness, because I've realized that, because I love to say because I have realized that I can be a very selfish person, and if I'm in a group with a lot of people, I can only think about what I want, and that's really not healthy for me or for the people around me. And so I really want to work on my selflessness. I don't want to be thinking about myself all the time, and I don't want my way to be the only way that happens. And God is slowly teaching me that through my timing and my goals that I had not working out the way I wanted them to, but it's still something that I need to continue learning. So that was my original word of the year for 2024, but I've changed it to trust, because along with what I've been learning about how I can be very selfish and have my goals in my timeline, that's not always what's going to happen. I'm realizing that not only do I need to trust God and his timing, I need to trust God and his plan for me. If I can't go back overseas and teach, I need to be okay with not being able to go back and teach overseas. You can steal either of those. I don't care. I also have a list on a document on my computer of alternative words for future years. So some of these have been here for a very long time, or just words that I need to remember to help me in general. So the top of my alternatives list is selflessness. It's still mentioned there. Also grow. I love using my goals to look at how I can grow. I'm never going to reach perfection on this side of earth, but I love using goals to grow. So grow is a great word. I want to grow this year. Joy, helpfulness, being good at communicating. So just communicate was the word I had chosen. I said G3, which isn't really one word. It's more an acronym, but give God glory. So GGG, G3. That's something that has impacted me throughout my whole life. So it's always big up on there. And then recently I've added faith. So going along with trust, I need to have faith that God has a perfect plan. So first goal is always a word. I have a word of the year. But I like to also create specific goals for the year, and sometimes even monthly goals, so smaller specific goals throughout the year. And so for 2024, I've actually thought a lot more about goals, both in general and monthly, than I ever have before. I have, again, a document here on my computer that I'm going to read out to you, my goal for every month. And then I actually have a piece of paper here where I've broken down my goals for the year into specific seasons where I will have a literal season of the year while we're focused on a season of an area of my life. So a lot of information, I'll get to it in a second. My monthly goal for January is perform. I am going to be taking on a role that does not necessarily belong to me. I am like taking over someone else's role for this month. So I want to learn what it's like to fit in their shoes and to be able to perform to the best of my ability to complete the tasks that are assigned to me short term for that month. So again, in this case, the goal for the month of January is one word, but it doesn't have to be. Because for February, my goal for the month is record everything. And I gave myself more information, like, because you can, in writing, through photos, or through videos. I want to take written and physical proof of a recording of all of my life. I have found, again, in 2023, I did that. I took so many photos, so many videos. I journaled almost every single day. And it has been so helpful for me to be able to look and see how I've grown when I can look back at specific areas of my life each month. So I want to take the time to especially record everything in the month of February. For the month of March, my goal is to plan. By now, I should have more direction for where I want to be in life. I want to follow that path and plan in every way that I can. So there are so many unknowns for the year of 2024 compared to 2023, where I knew what I wanted and I was in college, so it's a little bit easier to like follow the college plan. Now that I've graduated college, have so many more options, and I know what I want to do with my life. I just don't know some of the specifics to get there. So in 2024, hopefully by March, I'll have more of an idea so I can plan those specifics where there are some unknowns that are currently out of my control that I can't deal with until March. So just planning when I get there and learning to trust God through that process when I don't know what it holds for me before the month of March. March isn't a set in stone date, but I need to like be aware of it. For April, I have chosen to write. Write like your life depends on it. It may someday, was what I specifically told myself. So that includes, for me, journaling, writing on my blog, communicating with other people. I just love writing in every possible form that I can. Or writing books. I like writing books. Writing short stories that like I can compile to make a book. Things like that. Just want to write. That's my goal for April. Yes, right. And then for May, rest, work, learn, and grow. So that's where that word grow comes in. It's just a specific monthly goal instead of an umbrella yearly goal. I want to grow. Hopefully I can walk in graduation because my college is small enough that they only have the May graduation even though I'm a December graduate. And then hopefully I'll begin my summer job in May. So just generalities. And that's why it's specifically for May, is because I want to be able to rest, to work, to learn, to grow, summer jobs, graduation, things like that for May, specific. For June, I want to soak up the sun, drink lots of water, and just simply enjoy God's creation. For the month of July, I want to reflect. Summer is the time to look back at all that the Lord has brought you through in the past school year. I don't have a school year, so that's more challenging for me to do in July, but I like to take summer reflection as well as end of the year reflection. So July is just a time for me to remember that the reflection is important and I need to take the time to do so. August, breathe. Wherever you are in life, you understood that God has a plan for you here, even if it is nothing like what you've imagined. I wrote this note for myself here in December of 23, so by the time I get to August 24, it might look completely different than what I envisioned in December 23. But I'm reminding myself that I understood December of 2023 that God has a plan for me. So even if my life seems really chaotic in August, I'm hoping that that note will remind me of the truth that I can see in Scripture and the truth that I understand really well right now. When September rolls around, my goal is to prepare, to remember that God has a plan for my life, and so that I need to prepare as much as I can so that I can be ready to be used by Him. And hopefully I'm already being used by Him in the moment. I can prepare for the future as well as recognize that God can use me now. So both are really necessary. And then October, I have write notes for future me. Work on creating different mediums, so different ways to write notes to myself. And then I want to finish the year-long English lesson plan idea that I had years ago. I want to write down, as a teacher to be, an English teacher specifically, I want to write down a year's worth of lesson plans. So if I'm ever like, I don't know what to teach, and I have that flexibility, I want to be able to snatch up that lesson plan that I already created. And then when November rolls around, the month of Thanksgiving, this also makes perfect sense, and it's very specific to the month of November, though it should be acknowledged throughout the whole year. I want to focus on thankfulness for where I am, for what I've been through, and for God's promises found in Scripture. So if I don't know what to be thankful for, I've already given myself 3 specifics that even if it's hard for me to remember to be thankful about those things in November, I can, no matter where God has brought me. And then December of 2024, I have live out that selfless goal of the year. I'm choosing to leave it. Because even though my word of the year is trust, I still want selflessness to be such a big part of my life that I'm making it still my goal of the year. So that's my December goal, is to look throughout the whole year and see, have I accomplished that selfless word of the year? And if I haven't, what can I do now? On this piece of paper, don't know how well you can see, and it's okay if you can't see it all, because I'm going to explain it right now anyway. But I have 4 main categories, or seasonal focuses. Winter is going to be physical. Spring is focused on my spiritual aspects of life. Summer is for the mental, which includes emotional. I think they're 2 separate categories, but right now I'm grouping them together, mental/emotional. And then fall is relational. I would argue that there's a 5th, that's academic. But again, that's harder for me to understand in 2024 if I'm a college graduate and I might not be going back into like a schooling scenario. For the winter goal, it's physical. In that physical goal, I want to focus on making sure that I'm taking care of my body. That includes better skincare, because I haven't really been taking care of my skin in general, better hair care, working out more. And I don't like the whole you have to work out every single day or like super detailed goals. General can be too dangerous if you're not specific enough, but like some of my workout goals are I want to work out 3 times a week. And I have like running, weights, and like dance workouts to get my heartbeat up as ideas. I want to eat healthier. I'm not going to follow a specific diet plan because I also have issues with that in general, but I want to make wiser choices with what I eat. I want to drink more water. In March, on my birthday, I got a half a gallon water bottle, and since then I've been able to drink pretty consistently, almost a gallon of water a day. I want to keep that up. I don't want to lose that. So continue to drink more water. And I want to build healthy habits. For the spring, my goal is spiritual. I want to read my Bible more often and read to understand, not just read to read. I don't want it to just be something that I'm checking off my list. I want to actually read my Bible to learn and grow. I want to pray more. I want to look for more opportunities to serve. I want to use my money wisely and give. I want to look for more opportunities to share the gospel. And I want to use my time wisely. So I just said using my finances wisely, but I also want to use my time wisely. So fitting into healthy habits and fitting into the spiritual of how to use my time wisely, I want to monitor the way that I use my phone and potentially limit my screen time in general. So then the summer category, mental. I said mental or emotional. I want to journal. Something I already do pretty well, but like journal with intentionality potentially is a specific goal I want to create for myself. I want to take time to relax. Not just be lazy, but like intentionally relax if I'm working really hard. This is where I specifically wrote it down. I want to have less screen time. I also want to have more sun time. I think that soaking up literal sun is very important. And I also want to focus on what do I listen to? What kind of music do I listen to? What kind of media do I listen to? What do I choose to put into my brain? Those are all aspects of mental. And then for fall, I have relational. For relational, I want to seek God first. I want to understand what relationships should come first. Is a potential spouse more important than my parents? Are my siblings more important than my friends? I need to understand what relationships are important to me. I want to create red, yellow, and green flags, or what's good, what I would like but I don't need, and what I will not accept in all relationships. Not just romantic, but also what do I value in friendships? What am I okay to put up with in familial relationships? And then I also want to understand that what I expect of others, I should be willing to show back. If a red flag for me is someone who is really selfish and only thinks about themselves, I shouldn't be selfish and only think about myself. If a red flag for me is someone who chews with their mouth open, I shouldn't chew with my mouth open. So I also have some more extras, and I have been building on this over the past few days, but I have some goals that I would love to be able to focus on growing in 2024. I would love to hear if any of these really resonate with you, and if you have found some specific goals that I didn't mention that you are planning to implement into your 2024 goals. Feel free to let me know down below. Thank you very much. Goodbye.